It was about 12 years ago when I devoted my life to exposing the chemtrails, and I never looked back. In 2018, I created the documentary film Frankenskies. I never thought that I would be an activist, but here I am, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I hope that you will also consider becoming an activist in your own way. It really just starts with one step forward and doing what you can with what you have, where you are at. I never would have dreamt that I could have done this and what I've done in activism, especially being here, able to host a rally such as this. It's an absolute honor to be here today, representing truth with you all. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. So Louise, I met Louise last year. She stepped up. She was just wanted to get vocal. And it was a beautiful thing because a lot of people are shy. And Louise asked me if she could read a little speech that she had heard at the lockdown rallies. And she got up in front of everybody, and it was amazing. And then I found her again, and Louise is a 24-year-old activist from West Kirby over near Liverpool. She became passionate about activism after having a spiritual awakening that enabled her to see through the illusions and corruption and deception in the world. Louise has a little speech that she's going to give, and speak up, like be loud, don't be shy. And then also towards the end, you have a rap that you made about geoengineering.
Oh, I'm just going to leave it as a poem.
Oh, a poem. She's a poet. Yeah, I love it. But seriously, Louise is 24 years old, and she's not shy, and she'll get up in front of everybody and speak truth. So use that as an inspiration, and consider playing your part as you can. You don't have to get up in front of people, but if Louise isn't going to be shy, and she's going to come all the way from West Kirby, then you too can stand up and be an activist as well. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for letting me speak here today. I really, really appreciate it. I prepared a few words, so I'll just read that now. To have so many of us gather here today, willing to use our voices and stand up for the sake of humanity, is incredibly uplifting and brings great hope. I admire anyone who, despite ridicule and fear, goes against the grain and takes a stand and uses their voice to shed light upon the crimes against humanity that are happening right before our eyes. It is our mission to be defending this beautiful planet against the forces who want to block out the sun, using concoctions of chemicals sprayed directly above us every single day. What goes up must come down eventually, and the evidence collected by people like ourselves is irrefutable. Aluminium, barium, strontium, manganese, lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury, graphene oxide. These toxic metals and trace elements have been reported by activists and researchers in high volume all over the world. In our rainwater, snow, soil, air filters, atmospheric particulate collectors. Is that not crazy to you? This is happening on a mass scale, and so much so that it begins to raise questions like, what are the effects of breathing and consuming these elements? And if the ones doing the spraying know the dangers of these elements in high doses, but haven't stopped spraying them, then what really are the true intentions behind geoengineering? If it's no good for everyone, it's no good at all. Geoengineering is only doing us and the planet more harm, despite it being dressed up to the public as a solution. Bees, insect, nature is suffering massively. To answer the first question, how are we affected by these elements in high doses? Well, let's use lead as the first example. Lead affects the brain and nervous system, can cause learning difficulties, memory problems, irritability, seizures, kidney damage, and many other problems. And the same goes for all the other reported elements listed. Numerous symptoms affecting our cognitive, neurological, and biological systems. And I'm sure many of you are aware that heavy metals contribute in calcifying the pineal gland. Being awake in a society that is for the most part asleep can be an incredibly lonely experience. Being able to see through the deception, corruption and indoctrination at times can be a heavy load to carry. But it gets a hell of a lot easier when we come together in unity to shed light upon the darkness that is being spread from people in power who, as a society, we blindly trust, follow and cooperate with without ever asking questions or challenging the system. We're born as free, living, breathing human beings on a planet of abundance. So why are the very resources we depend on for life treated as commodities rather than fundamental rights? Why is our air and water heavily contaminated by the time we consume it? To describe it as contaminated would suggest that it has become dirty over time accidentally through natural processes with no ill intent, planning or prior knowledge. But is that really the case? By us coming together like this, we're not only spreading awareness to others, but we're letting them know that we know what they're doing and we do not consent. There may only be a percentage of us here today, but through consistent activism, resistance and unity, more will join us as they awaken to the true actions and intentions of the corrupt, indoctrinating and deeply convoluted system that we are currently living in. I wrote a poem, so I'm gonna read that now. I like watching the birds when they fly. I like looking up and seeing blue skies. I can't remember the very last time that the world I was born in felt like mine. Chemical clouds and chemical rain. We're here today because we all want change. We look around to the trees and the bees, silently suffering from a hidden disease. Do you ever wonder why some days you feel a bit dead, like you're under the weather with clouds overhead? I've been staring at the sky, trying to make sense of the haze. I've been seeing more trails left by the planes. We don't want our weather changed, not the sun nor the rain. Geoengineering is damaging more than just our brains. When will they listen? It's our planet too. It doesn't just belong to an entitled few. Psychopaths with power is a dangerous thing. No consideration for anything else living. Before I was born on Earth or sent, I do not recall giving prior consent to be poisoned daily by water and air, heavy metals in my sweat and in my hair. If health is a right, then explain this to me. Why is contamination the cost of being free? Decisions that could impact our air, water, weather and future should not be made without accountability to the people they affect. Any activities affecting our environment should be subject to transparency, independent scrutiny and public debate. Thank you everyone for your time today. Thank you Matt for letting me speak. Keep attending gatherings, rallies. Thank you.